and welcome to Exploring Personal Pedagogy. My name's Glenn Denny, aka the Male Practitioner, and I'm delighted to be joined today by the founder of the Ark Groups, a best-selling author, and the undisputed queen of the tough trade. Oh, and she gives great hugs too. It's the wonderful Sally Wright. Sally, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. I'm so pleased to be here.
Oh,
it's really exciting.
I know. It's like, it's so good to be able to talk. The last time we met, we didn't really have that much time to talk because it was such a busy but amazing day. It was at EPOP, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you know, don't you think meeting makes a difference when you're speaking online to people? Actually having met them, it does make a bit of a difference with the connection.
Oh, absolutely.
You kind of know, yeah. It was lovely to meet you, actually.
It was. And like I say, you did give really good hugs as well.
I am really actually well known for hugging. I'm very cuddler.
Brilliant. Well, what we're going to do today, we're going to have a little chat about kind of your background in early years and your sort of own personal pedagogy, which is where we're kind of focusing our talk about. So I'm going to start by asking you, how did you get into early years? What's your background in that?
Well, really, before it was having my own children, really, but because before that I was a horse riding instructor, believe it or not. So I've always loved teaching. And then I had my first son, and I had to adapt. I went working in admin. I still had the horses. I was still doing a bit of that, but the horses and children didn't really go hand in hand. I was struggling with that. And so I was working full time in admin, had Thomas, who's my eldest, and had to kind of just fit around him, really. We couldn't find a place for him to fit in. I mean, I spoke about him on our training, a whirlwind child, like real handful child, still is actually. So we'd really struggled finding a best place for him to fit in, but we tried childminders, a friend had looked after him, really good friend. We'd put him in nursery, play groups, we'd taken him to toddler groups. And so we couldn't really find anywhere that fit. And then when I had Alex, my second child, made the decision for me to stay at home. So I was a little bit lost at home. I'd lost the will to live, forgot how to write my name and everything that happens when you have children. And then I was at a toddler group, a local toddler group that was going to close down. If somebody didn't step up, and it was like literally we were all sat there, the parents, and the leader of the group said, there'll be no group tomorrow because I'm not doing next week because I'm not doing it anymore unless somebody wants to take it over. And sort of like the tumbleweed, and I've got these two crazy little boys with me, and I said, I'll do it. I thought I have to have somewhere to go. And that was really the start of it. That's where it started. So I started volunteering at this toddler group. I met Janice, who's my best friend, who's still with us. And we created like the Ark group, the Ark toddler group. And then the ministers at the church halls, it's a voluntary role, but they asked us to stay on when our children went to nursery. And we were like, you know, we probably need to get a job. Now we've got them in school, they're all sorted. We've done this early years bit, but so we decided to open the play group. So we ran it under we thought we could just open it, but we didn't know, we had no qualifications. And so we went to all these meetings with our local authority and discovered we'd probably be better off if we were qualified. So started studying, but we did open the group and use the 2-hour ruling. So we run for an hour and 55 minutes, and the vision was that we'd open it into this full-time play group and make it something that we couldn't find for our own children. That never really happened because what we created worked so well and so lovely that we've just kept on going as it is. And so I started working to tag team with my husband for childcare. So I was working in the evenings at the weekend and then running these 4 groups, and decided, you know, and all the childminders were using the groups, accessing them, which was fabulous. I thought I should start childminding. So not like a lot of childminders go into it to fit in with their own children. I could not have done it with my children at home. They were just too difficult. It fitted in with the wraparound, but not with actual, you know, when they were little. So I started childminding, studying. I did my NVQ3, then I went on to do my foundation degree, topped up to the BA Honours. then I went on to do my early years teacher status, and it's just snowballed. It's just kind of not been a plan. It's just happened. You know, the childminding took over my life. I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll get all these qualifications and go into teaching when my youngest goes to secondary school. And then I went to be a parent governor at our primary school and realised all the politics and the horrible things that they have to do, chasing statistics that I didn't like and was against everything that I thought was right for children, and didn't want to, and thought I'd been too far on my own childminding to be able to go into a school and be told you have to do this, you have to do that, and know in my heart that it didn't feel right for me. So I decided against that, which was very lucky, because then not long after, my husband got made redundant from his job with the local authority for 30 years, and he come and joined the team. So that's us, Team Ark, with myself, my husband and Janice, and that's pretty much, it's just kind of like evolved and into this. I just don't even know how we got here.
So it's kind of a natural journey, really, isn't it? It started off with one thing and then it built to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So it's not kind of like, boom, that's it, you're in there. You built yourself and your skills base up with it, didn't you?
Yes, and still going, still moving forward, still have no idea where we're heading, no real aim, but just going with the flow, just doing everything that feels right. And that's kind of our motto, just if it feels right, do it.
It kind of works the best way, really, is it? I mean, it's like trying to plan for the children. You can't plan for them because they'll turn up one day being completely different to the way they were the next day. So even in terms of kind of your own method of growing and development, it has to adapt and change.
Yeah, and if somebody says something to me like, why don't you try this? I'm very much will do it, you know. So I say to warn people, don't ask me to do something, because I do it. And then, but it's all worked out for the best, to be honest. But I have thought, like when I was working full time, I was doing my degree, it was just horrendous. I think back now and think, how on earth did I actually manage to do that? Because I had to learn to drive as well at that point. Oh, wow. I wasn't driving. So just to get to university, because it was in Bolton. And I just think, at the time, I remember thinking, why am I doing this? It's not, you know, but now I can see what a wonderful thing it was and what a great achievement it was. But yeah, at the time, it can be like, oh, this is crazy.
You're quite big on sort of personal learning and development. So what kind of influences has that given you in terms of your own personal pedagogy then?
Well, I mean, knowledge is studying has really opened my eyes up to the whole early years. I'm still finding myself really about where I belong and who I am, and I have real big influences that I do of people that I follow. But I kind of not really into anything in particular, but bits of everything. I kind of think there's my own thing, but studying, the research that I did, my dissertation, definitely moulded the way I thought and the path that I've gone down, because it was about, my dissertation was about war and weapon play, because I had a little boy who was obsessed with it, and there was that part of him wanting to do it and me knowing that it was right to allow him to do that, because telling him no all the time didn't feel right as a parent. But then as a practitioner, being all panicky about what people would think, the parents, Ofsted. So I wanted to explore where we were on that, and it just opened up my eyes to a whole new way of thinking, like moving from this zero tolerance approach to more acceptance and following children's leads and being in the moment, as you say, and doing all that. I actually didn't answer your question because I lost my track and forgot what it was.
Well, I was just thinking what sort of, I mean, you're a bit like me. I've got a mishmash of different influences. So I like a bit of Montessori and a bit of Reggio. And what kind of, these kind of theories and approaches have influenced you and your practice?
I'd say my biggest influence, obviously, when I was studying, I made links with Alistair Bryce Clegg. So he was a massive part of like that kind of when I was studying, and we've connected as well because he lives locally to us, and we've got like, he was the headmaster at our local school. Our boys are friends with each other, so, and I kind of was in contact with him, but he's been a massive influence. And like, not so much following him online, which I do follow him online. They're not the things that have impacted me as much. It's more when you listen to him speak. That's the dog going crazy.
Yeah, that's fine.
As if you go mad when Nigel comes home. So Alistair Bryce-Clegg's been a massive influence. And now, currently, Danita Dinger from Play Count, her programme, when you watch it, that really reached me. I just really could relate to it. She kind of like is a really big inspiration to me at the minute. You know, that's more recently. But I love Montessori. I love elements of it. I've not investigated any of the theories fully. Like, I've not done any training regarding Reggio, which I'd like to. But then I'm also feel a little bit with Reggio, people are taking it a bit too far and just using one element and not doing it justice, like the environment, going crazy on setting up these beautiful environments. So yeah, I'm influenced by anything, just snippets of bits of everything really. But a bit like you, not really fully sure actually where I fit in. It's just about finding a balance that works.
Do you feel that your own personal pedagogy is kind of totally like a bit like your practice as well, but it's totally evolving, and so you'll hear something new, like for instance you were just mentioning about Danita, and it like that's something new for you, and you kind of go, wait a minute, that fits in with where I'm thinking. Do you kind of like go, hang on, you're on the same journey as me, let me go with you, let's go on this journey as well?
I think she's a couple of years ahead of me, so with what she's been through. But when we talk and about the things where we were, and I don't look back on them things and think they were a bad thing, because it's part of the journey to get where we are. And I think that maybe in a few years we'll look back now and think, what were we going on about? You know, we're changing all the time. I just think the biggest thing for me is being reflective. That's what my biggest quality is being able to go, that didn't work and we need to change this, or yeah, that's right. At least, like you say, picking up information from other people, disagreeing with it makes you stronger about what you believe, or agreeing with it, or reflecting on your practice. That's the key things, I think. Definitely. to be developed. I mean, I don't think that I'm fully there. We make mistakes all the time, you know, we don't get things right, and we even do things that we're not following. We're sort of saying we're a child-led play program, and then we do things that isn't child-led. And it's like, you know, we're kind of, it's about finding a balance, finding what works and not putting yourself under too much pressure. I think if the children are central to everything we do, then that's the best thing we can do.
That's probably the best thing. Definitely. Well, Sally, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been absolutely brilliant to kind of hear where your journey's started from and how it continues to drive on, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and let's see where we are in a few years.
Completely different location, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, Sally, thank you very much for talking to us. Take care now.
Thank you. Thank you.